Hello everyone, welcome to Driving Production. I'm JP, and today we're driving an IS300.
In the early 2000s, Lexus as a brand was growing in the luxury market and wanted to claim some of the sales of established sportier brands like Audi, Mercedes, and BMW. This is where Lexus came up with this car. They took Toyota's sports sedan, the Altezza, took out the 2-liter 4-cylinder, and dropped in a 3-liter straight 6 that is among legends, the 2JZ.
And that's a big reason why this car is so popular with the modified community.
People will turbocharge the factory 2JZ GE or even swap it out for the acclaimed Supra engine, the GTE version. In some cases, some prefer to go with the 1JZ GTE out of other JDM legends. And one reason they can do this, and people do it, is for Toyota's durability.
Speaking of durability, this car feels and drives like it had maybe 50,000 kilometers on it, yet it has more than 4 times that amount at 207,000 kilometers. And this 2JZ still pulls very strong, even though with that type of mileage. With its 215 horsepower and 218 foot-pounds of torque, it's enough to pull you out of a corner no problem and make for an enjoyable ride.
Even though by today's standards, these figures may sound unappealing, the torque that comes fairly early on, thanks to the 3-liter of displacement, makes for a drive that will leave you smiling for kilometers ahead.
The acceleration is not out of this world, but it's just enough to really pull you out of corners. And just like the handling of this car is just amazing.
As far as modification, this 2JZ is fairly stock for now, being paired with typical bolt-ons like intake and a custom stainless steel catback exhaust. But just with these 2 mods, this IS makes an incredible induction noise. And exhaust sound.
And if for some reason you're not paying attention to the incredible sound that's coming out of this car to let you know what RPM you're going at, you could always take a look at this intricate design of a tachometer that's in front of you.
Toyota did a great job at making this cluster stand out, especially compared to other cars in the segment at that time.
There's so many amazing things that I love about this car. But can I just mention how amazing this car looks with this Vertex V2 body kit on it?
Every single details have been considered. The Vertex V2 front bumper and side skirts, the GT86 style front splitter, and yes, as in Toyota GT86, to the JDM Altezza Modellista rear bumper, the black housing, headlights, to the JDM Altezza front grille. To complete the exterior look, this Lexus was fitted with a set of 18-inch SR-08 wheels wrapped with some Firestone Indy 500.
Combined with BC coilovers and some Eibach Sway bars, this car just handles like it's on rails. With just the right amount of weight and feedback to the steering wheel, it just tells you exactly where the wheels are and how much steering input you have in the corners.
And that's not the only thing giving you the right amount of feedback.
The shifter is nice and crisp. Even though it's not a short shift, it feels very nice with the aftermarket shift knob that's been added to it.
I can't speak of feedback without mentioning the clutch damper delete.
The clutch damper delete gives you so much more feedback from the clutch. It makes every shift so much more responsive and every downshift so much easier to heel toe.
The brakes are still the factory ones for now. They bite pretty well, but would fade quickly if pushed.
This car is amazing in so many ways. It has enough power to make every drive very fun. It handles really well, and it gives you just enough feedback to let you know what's happening on the road.
I can't wait to see what the owner of this car will do next. Speaking of, let's see what it's like to own this car.
Okay, so hey guys, my name's Billy. This is my 2004 Lexus IS300. As you can see, it's in the graphite gray pearl. I've owned this car for almost 2.5 years. What made me pick this car is I was looking for something reliable. Well, first of all, I was looking for something rear-wheel drive, something that had 4 doors, and I'm also a really big Toyota fan and a JDM fan, and I always loved the IS300. There's also a lot of history in my choice. Growing up, I played a lot of GT5, GT6, Assetto Corsa, all of the simulator, and I always built an IS300, and I always wanted to drive one and own one. And fortunately, I was able to own 2 so far. And yeah, I just love this car. Like, you can do everything with it. You can drift, you can track, you can drag. This car is versatile. And the car looks amazing, and it has a 2JZ. I mean, although it's a GE, it still sounds really good, and the possibility for tuning and dropping in, let's say, a 1J or Aristo GTE swap is always there. So I really love this platform. My favorite mod has to be the body kit, to be honest. I know it's kind of cliche. It's this idea I always had in my head, and it's actually inspired off of someone else's build. His name's called Danny Calderon. He has this really nice white IS300 with the Vertex kit and flares and everything, and I really like the front end of the car. So I said, whenever I get my IS300, this is the goal. I want my front end to look like this. Although we have slight differences in our builds, I really enjoy having this front end with the Vertex V2 S Endurance bumper, and having the canards and the splitter and the Altezza grille, and with the black housing for the lights. So I really like the front end of the car. Hopefully in the future I can upgrade to a carbon hood, and I think it'll really complete the front end of the car. Memorable story about this car, there's a few, but I think the biggest story is getting this car. Well, after selling my first IS300, I was browsing on Kijiji all the way in Canada, and I actually used Brian from B Auto Pro. My brother had used them to import his MR2, and I was looking into either an Altezza or an IS300, and I actually made my decision to stick with the IS300 because of the 2JZ. Although I like the beams, I'm more of a JZ guy myself, and I knew that in the long run, if I stick to a JZ platform, it'll be much easier to add a turbo, or even to, let's say, do a 1JZ swap. So in the end, I decided to opt for an IS300. However, this car was kind of hard to find, so I was searching on Kijiji for like a month or 2, and this one came up in Winnipeg, and Brian was able to take care of the details for me, and I was able to purchase the car, although I didn't see it. I just saw videos and pictures. I was pretty anxious getting the car, and I still remember the day getting this car when the shipping company told me that it would be delivered today. I was anxious, and I wasn't even the one to get the car. So when I came home and I saw it, like my jaw just dropped. I was just like, oh my goodness, this car looks so good. Can't believe this is mine. And I think that's pretty a memorable day in that sense for this car. Plans for the future, I feel like I have too many. I have to kind of go in terms of category. So for the future, when it comes to exterior, I'd like to complete the car with a carbon hood. Also have a TRD trunk lip, and also want to kind of get the Altezza tail light covers and possibly a rear diffuser to complete the look of the car on the outside. I really like to boost the car, but we'll see where that goes. Currently, the JZ market is very expensive for 1 JZ GTEs or 2 JZ GTEs, so a lot of people have advised us to stick with the GE and to simply stick with the GE and boost that. After talking about the engine mods in the future, suspension-wise, I'd really like to take care of my alignment. I kind of want to have a nice race alignment and go poly bushings, hopefully, and make sure that I have everything that I need to adjust, like all of the suspension, toe in, toe out, camber, and whatnot. In terms of suspension as well with braking, I'd like to go with the LS400 front calipers for the front. I think that would be a really nice upgrade for the front brakes. If I decide to track the car or get really serious, I think it would probably need a little stiffer in terms of springs. And the final mods are interior mods. The only thing I'd like to do interior is switch seats. I'd like to get kind of bucket seats. I think it'll help with cornering and really feeling like planted in the car. Yeah, in terms of that, and a short shifter, I think that would benefit the car. And yeah, that's it. Also wanted to take some time to talk about this build. I think it's pretty special because growing up, I was always the guy that was kind of, you know, the youngest in the group, and I watched the boys mod the cars, and I finally got mine. And I feel like this build, everyone pitched in one way or the other and helped me build this car. Whether it was installing mods or being there when the car was delivered or putting on the intake in 10 minutes, all of the guys know that this build's really special. In terms of having everyone help me, I just want to shout out to the guys. So I want to thank, you know, my brother for being there when the car got delivered, JP, man behind the camera, Mikey. Mikey helped a lot with this car and getting this car on the road when we first got it, and the mods for suspension, and basically everyone that had a part in this build I want to thank.
This car is very special to me, and special to drive. Maybe it's because I've had a second-gen Lexus IS, an IS250 in the past, and I can clearly see driving this IS300 where it came from. Feels like a sportier and rawer version of the car I had. And honestly, that's a good thing. I love driving this car, and I would get back behind the wheel of it at any given chance. I'd like to give a big thanks to my good friend Billy for letting me shoot this video with him. Thanks for everything, bro. I'd also like to thank everyone for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please consider subscribing for more content.